This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today, two teams are fighting for a prime playoff position, and unfortunately, two are going to have their trip to Japan end early. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 3 of Masters Tokyo. Of course, we're coming at you live from the incredible Tipstar Dome Chiba in, of course, Chiba and Tokyo. Of course, I'm Golden Boy here, joined by Mimi as well as Kakuka. The fans are rolling in, and what an experience this has been so far. We already saw a few teams. One team in particular, EG, punched their ticket to the playoffs in spectacular fashion. We'll see who else will be joining them here. And yeah, I mean, really, the opportunities are endless. What we have in store for us today, Mimi, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, these games are going to be great. We're already starting to send teams home very early into this tournament, so the pressure is on today for those squads who lost their first match.
Yeah, exactly. We're only on Day 3, but this is how international events work. We know that the seasons, that the rest of the year has been a little bit different, but now it's all about what you can do in this very little time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's go ahead and talk about what ended up happening yesterday, because we had a few really good matches. We started off with a banger of a matchup between Na'Vi and NRG, one that we were so excited about, given the history, Kakuka, of these two teams. You knew that you were going to be in for a treat, and a treat is exactly what we got.
Yeah, a destiny that was intertwining between these two. I think that, you know, what we saw on the server, and Na'Vi a little bit, you know, following the traces of what they had been doing during the regular season. To me, the biggest surprise was the good shape with NRG, the way that they came super prepared and very well ready to present themselves like this on an international stage.
It was great from them in those first few maps, and being able to pull off the win on this Lotus in the latter part was quite impressive. But then we got to split, and then I think we started to see some of the issues from Na'Vi. It didn't seem like they were fully ready for the pace of this double duelist comp. NRG got a crazy amount of momentum going and carried that through to take the win on that third map fairly dominantly, and are now a win away from making it to playoffs.
Yeah, but again, it was just such a spectacular matchup to watch, especially though if you're an NRG fan, just because you're really starting to see the fruits of the labors throughout all of America's really begin to take shape here in Tokyo. But then we go into our EG-DRX matchup, which was one that I did not expect to have happen. Not because, you know, I didn't believe in EG, but because I just had Mimi so much belief in DRX that they would be able to make this one into a close game, but EG had other plans.
Even though DRX has been struggling, you'd expect that, oh, this is the match where they're going to turn up. It's a group stage of an international event, but
especially Ascent.
It was just dominant from EG, especially in this first map. EG came in and looked so incredibly prepped on their Fracture. Every time they used an ultimate, they had a cool preset plan or a fast reaction to support their teammates, and just the depth of this squad is, I think, what impressed me the most.
And what a way to close this match with that play from Demon, just popping up the blades from hell, just getting the kill from the operator. To me, the most important bit is the fact that they're living this experience so full-heartedly. Like, we see them every single round, with every single win. They just keep building up, and now they're the first team to make it out of groups.
Yeah, and for DRX now, this leaves so many questions. They're always the team who's dominant in the group stage, making it out the swiftest without really looking like they're breaking a sweat. But in this one now, they're down in the lower bracket. They're at risk of being eliminated. It's a very new situation for the Korean squad.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be shocked if there's some sweating on that stage when we see DRX take it later on. But that being said, though, with those crucial matches underway, let's actually take a look at our group stage brackets. First, we'll start with Group A. As you can see, NRG T1, they're going to be clashing against one another today to determine who gets that top spot out of Group A. Will it be the Korean hopefuls of T1 or the uncrowned kings of NA with NRG? And then on the bottom, a situation that I didn't think that we would see, Na'Vi and EDG both down there. That's going to be an intense matchup there.
Yeah, and not only that, they do not even have a day to rest. They're playing today. For example, in the situation of DRX, they did lose today, but they have one day to rest up and kind of build up, you know, and recover themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, even for like Na'Vi, right? They jumped straight into it. EDG got a little bit of time to relax.
Yep.
We'll see how this plays out when the match begins. But let's jump over though to the other side of the bracket and see what's up with Group B. Because over here, EG, well, they managed to punch their ticket. First team to do so, and now we await to see who joins them out of that one, Mimi.
This is a scary looking bracket if you're Foot or Attacking Soul Esports, both down there in our first elimination game of this group. And if you win that, you get to face DRX, and it'll be a really big uphill battle either way for those squads. But they've both had a time to recoup, and I think it'll be an interesting stylistic match where Foot is normally super slow, super structured, and ASE was already just displaying their crazy pace on the stage.
Yeah, I think it's also going to be complicated because we see that every single matchup in that group has been a 2-0, but definitely in the server it didn't feel like that. We could see the resilience of some of the teams, so I expect some bangers for today.
Oh yeah, that matchup, when you're fighting for your life backs against the wall, that's really when you get to see the best of the best come through. But as always, peeps, we want you to use the hashtags VCT as well as Valorant Masters. Let us know what you think about the show, what's been going on, who you're rooting for today. We want to hear from you, and then we might actually feature your tweets on the broadcast. Look at that, technology at work. What a wild time to live. Of course, we also want to know who do you think has the best chance at surviving today's elimination matches, right? Is it going to be EDG, Na'Vi, Foot, or Attacking Soul? Make sure you scan that QR code right there. Okay, cast your vote. We want to hear from you. We'll see, because that actually is an interesting poll. I'm curious to see who the community thinks will survive today, Mimi.
I feel like a lot of people will think Na'Vi, but I think that EDG game could actually be quite close. I would almost say that Foot is probably the most heavily favored in their matchup today.
Listen, it's not an easy time to be an EMEA fan, okay? So just bear with me on this one. It could be a devastating day for the region.
We'll bear with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got you covered. But thankfully, we have some fun and games, because before we move on to today's matchups, it's time to play ourselves a quick, fun game. It's something that we like to call Lost in Translation, and we want to see how much of the Japanese language we have absorbed here in our trip to Tokyo. And you know, not to flex, this will be my third time. You would think, though, that I would know a little bit of Japanese.
gonna
Say 3 days, he has already flexed twice about this is the third time that he's...
I don't know what you're talking about, B. I would never do such a thing. All right, so here's how it works. All right, guys, so you're basically going to hear an in-game voice line in Japanese, and then we have to guess the translation. So let's actually go ahead and hear from our first Asian, and it's going to be Yoru. So let's go ahead and take a listen. What do we have? We got to hear it.
I can't hear it.
I can't hear it too well.
So quiet.
Okay, we're triaging it right now. This is live entertainment at work, people. But
I feel like there's a ghost in my head.
there you go. Okay. I definitely don't know what that is. Let's go ahead and see.
It's short.
Oh, wait, so
It sounded like he's only saying a few words in that one, so probably not an ult then.
yeah, okay, here are the options. Because Lord knows I wasn't going to be able to guess this. All right, my portal broke, won't happen again, block vision here, or they dragged Chamber out of his corner office. I can smell his cologne from here.
Probably the last one.
And I love the last one.
Yeah, it's got to be the last one, right?
I'm going.
I'm torn.
I got it.
Going...
All right,
Got it down.
I got mine. All right, ready? All right, of course. Okay.
I don't know. I'm between A and C. I don't
You
know.
can only pick one.
I went
I'm
B.
picking A.
Okay.
I went B.
I'm also picking A.
You went A. Okay, let's see what the answer is. I'm kind of curious because I'm right.
Won't happen again.
It will.
He's cheating.
I
I'm
use
calling it.
context
He's
clues.
cheating.
I use context clues.
What context clues?
You know, it sounded like
That's a lie.
it genuinely did sound like won't happen again.
No, it's...
It sounded like dismissive, but like in an
You know, Mimi,
understanding
maybe
manner.
if you had been here 3 times already, you would know this.
Oh,
answer.
sorry. My bad. I've
Honestly,
only been
it's
here
just
once.
because I'm a genius, genuinely. Okay, I lost my eraser. Next one, let's go ahead and listen to it. It's going to be Raise. What do we have here? It's in Japanese. Go again.
Ultimate 準備完了
That sounds too good.
Okay.
Ultimate 準備完了
Okay, all right, let's see. What are our answers here?
完了
A, my ult's ready. B, can't use that. C, someone's in defender spawn. And D, I think we need the spike.
Going.
She sounded pretty, like, casual.
You're cheating.
But all of these
No.
are casual. None of these are...
If I get this right, if I get this right using the same exact logic that I applied to the first one, I am a gosh darn genius. I chose A.
I went with D.
I chose A again. I'm taking the same approach I did to the ACT. Just guess the same letter and you'll eventually get it right.
All right,
Right?
let's see what the result is. What's the result? Yo! I'm a genius. Never mind. I'm a genius.
So he is cheating.
I don't like
Dude,
this game.
that is actually crazy that
I'm
he's
a
continuing
genius.
to cheat at this game.
Everyone thinks everyone's like, oh, GB, blah, blah, blah. Look at me. Predictor. I'm the predicting champion.
The
and now
predictor.
the predictor.
Okay, noted predictor.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
I think we'll call it a wrap on that one. I definitely want to do this game again, Kurt, so please make it happen.
Please.
But in any case, though, guys, coming up next, we have some more Japanese love as we're going to have local caster OooDa joining us here. And, of course, we'll see you on the other side. You don't want to miss it, folks. Welcome back to Masters Tokyo, and joining us here at the desk is a member of our Japanese broadcast team. It's the one and only OooDa here. How's it going, buddy?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful to have you here. First, I want to ask you, how long have you been working in esports?
e スポーツでのお仕事は何年されてるんですか？
12年。
12 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Same here.
Oh, thank you. Nice to
There
meet
you
you.
go. All right.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
First, most importantly, how did Valorant become so big in Japan? I know this. I've loved this country for a very long time, and the fighting game community has been very important to me here. So it's incredible to see games like Valorant get bigger.
日本でバロラントがここまで人気が出た要因って何なんでしょうねと、一ファンとしてもすごく日本は注目していたんですけれども、本当に驚いてます。
ありがとうございます。まず、I can speak English. Sorry.
It's okay. I can't speak Japanese.
Sorry,
everyone.
Okay. ライアットっていうところで、競技シーンでそこで戦う、チーム選手がまずは成長してくれて、そして、キャスター、我々が盛り上げて、そこを支えてくれるファンの方々がいて、そして何よりタリック・シュラウドのような、なんだろうな、ストリーマー、日本ではストリーマーがすごい人気でして、でこの競技シーンを、ストリーマーが面白いよって広げてくれたこと、まずそこで、その中で昨年、この FPS っていうタイトルでなかなか日本としては成績が伸び悩んでいたところでゼータディビジョンがマスターズで3位を獲得した、そこで一気にメディアの皆さんが取り上げていただいて、彼らがバロラントのプロゲーマーではなくスーパースターと、海外のプロゲーマー全てがスーパースターとなりました。で、日本の皆さんもそのスーパースターを見に盛り上がっています。
So first and foremost, I have to thank the Riot Games, making it fundamental for us, getting easier for us to work, and then players and the fans to enjoy this game.
Wow.
Yeah, and then probably we have to mention about the Zeta Division getting into top 3 of the world at the VCT 2022 Master. So that, Zeta Division became a superstar here in Japan. So that the fan knows that all the players who play Valorant are the superheroes. So, everybody who are here at the moment is enjoying the moment, watching superheroes playing right in front of them.
Well, we are definitely enjoying the moment as well, and this audience has been genuinely incredible. Thank you so much.
本当にありがとうございます。ファンの皆さんを見ているのも感激しています。
And they've been amazing. We've been to so many different places for Valorant and gotten to see the local fans there. But it seems like there is just a special passion with the Japanese fans here. Even though there's not a Japanese team playing, still tons of people have come out, are cheering for every team without bias. What do you think it is that makes the fans here just so passionate about the game beyond any specific team?
日本のバロラントのファンってその国境を越えてなんかバイアスなくどのチームのことも平等に応援しているっていうすごく素敵なパッションがあると思うんですけど、それはどうしてなんでしょうね。
おもてなし。
hospitality.
That's very good hospitality.
みんなもう本当にスーパースターがもうスーパースターだと思って見てるんで、メジャーリーガースーパースターだと見てるんで憧れの存在です。
Everybody look up to each players who are on the stage for the Valorant. So they're superstar, superhero. So they admire and look up to.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That respect is amazing.
Respect.
Yeah. Incredible.
It's really shown from everyone here in the crowd. For you, watching the tournament thus far through these first few days of the group stage, what was your expectation going in, and what teams have broken that expectation? What's been the biggest surprise for you thus far?
ここまで2日間見てきて一番のサプライズは何でしたか？
もうたくさんありすぎてこの短い時間では語りきれないところはあるんですけど、昨日のやっぱりイービルジネスと、あとは DRX の試合でデーモン1が、日本に来れるのか来れないのかっていうところから、あとは疲れもあったと思います。その中でどれぐらいのパフォーマンスを出してくれるのかなこの日本でっていうところで、我々が想像してた以上のパフォーマンスを見せてくれたので、そこはもうサプライズというか、もう僕にしてはびっくりしましたね。嬉しかったです。
There's so many things that I want to talk about, but if I have to mention one, that will be yesterday's DRX versus Evil Genius, and we weren't sure if Demon One could come to Japan or not, but then he make it. Maybe they must be very tired, but then we feel the energy from the stage, and they got victorious, and they were way higher than we expected. So it was really a big surprise for me.
Well, before we let you go, unfortunately, I wish I could have you on my analyst desk every day. I would like to ask if you want to give a message to the audience at home from the Japanese Valorant community, and also to the people in here as well.
もうねずっと解説でここにいていただきたいんですけれども時間がないので最後にファンにメッセージお願いします。
本当に我々の日本のこの コミュニティ、ファンの皆さんのバロラント愛というところを本当に海外の皆さんにも知ってほしいなというところで、ここでさよならは言いたくないので、日本語で「See you again」みたいなところで「またね」って伝えていただいていいですか。
Okay, on behalf of Valorant community, I would like to tell everybody how much we love the game, and I don't want to say goodbye, so I want to tell you the Japanese word for see you again. またね。
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 またね
またね。
皆さんこれ3人で言ったら拍手くださいね。はい、ということでグローバルの皆さん。
Okay, let's get together then. またね。
2、1。またね。
All right, well, I think that's a good place to close out. ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。So much.
Thank you so much, Pisuka, as well. OooDa, ladies and gentlemen. But folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And of course, you guys at home are going to get your show back. We'll go back to ours, and we have NRG taking on T1. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to Masters Tokyo. Of course, it's time to talk about our first match of the day. T1 takes on NRG, and a win here moves you to the knockouts. And of course, you will have to end up. Well, let me go ahead. Let me restart that real fast because a lot of things is happening. The point is, you got to win this game.
You got to win this game. Stay alive. It's our first elimination match, so big pressure. Or excuse me.
No, I was you guys okay?
Me.
I know that interview was great, so I understand that you're a little bit out of the zone.
I'll be very honest with everyone watching at home right now. That was one of the coolest things I ever did in my entire career. And it actually made me rather emotional.
It's like a little bit of chills,
yeah. So allow me a moment to reset for a moment here. But let's go ahead and move on and talk about T1, our first squad here, as we have really just this squad has had a rough history with the core of NRG, right? The famous core, the Crashies, the Finesse, the Victors, right? It has caused problems for this team in the past. Mimi, T1's going to have to overcome that here today.
They will. They got their first win internationally against CDG, but now they're facing a team. Well, this is a Korean squad playing in the Pacific League. 3 out of these 5 players competed in Valorant in North America, and all 3 of them have played against this core and lost them. And I think the most crushing was this one. When Saya was on the guard, they beat Optic, that is now NRG, to make it to Reykjavik, and then at Reykjavik, that core knocked them to the lower bracket in the first round, and that heartbreak was there for the others too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit of everything. They've been on the winning side. They've also been on the losing. We feel, though, that those losses were harder than what the wins meant per se. So now they get a chance of redemption, and we love those stories.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we did see T1 take on EDG, right? And this was obviously EDG looking for that first win, right? For China, for the region. But for T1, it was really about a similar path that EG had, right? And that Foot have had, which has been like a team that no one really thought would be here, but yet here they are punching way above what we thought was their weight class and showing that they are heavyweights in the game.
I think it would be a milestone for either of the teams. For T1, it was their first international win. Now they have a chance to make it out of groups and make it in amazing fashion, making it being the winners, the #1 out of this 4 teams.
And the way in which they beat EDG, I was really impressed with, because honestly, they let map 2 slip away. It should have been a 2-0. And then on the 3rd map of Pearl, it was slipping away from them again. But they recovered at the end, pushed it to overtime, ended up winning out in that series. And for T1, I think that's a milestone, not just in winning the first game, but showing great mental resiliency and being able to adapt to an EDG, which has a really crazy play style that's pretty hard to compete with.
Yeah, and if anything, it just shows that this T1 team is the real deal, and they are here to compete. We actually did get an opportunity to get some words from Saya player as the team had arrived. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Just gonna grab you real quick, Saya, if I could ask you a quick question. Just after the EDG game the other day, with Kang putting up an insane performance, are you more or less scared facing off against Artist today?
Honestly, for me, Kang is more scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any particular reason why?
I mean, he's always insane, like he never missed shots, but yeah, I mean, that's why.
Okay, excellent. Looking forward to the game, man. Good luck today.
All right, and of course, you know, the head-to-head matchup today to watch out for will most definitely be Saya player taking on Artis. Artis, you know, I think had his redemption arc yesterday, Mimi. He was able to take out his former teammates, and even though there's no bad blood there, it was still nice to see Artis kind of have that moment to really show, like, hey, I'm here with this squad. We won as a team. We lose as a team. The journey that NRG have taken with Artis has been incredible.
Yeah, Artis was a really strong player, but for Saya as well, I think what impressed me was how his style has shifted now playing with T1. He's so much more aggressive than he was on the guard. He's flexible as well. His raise is amazing, his jet is amazing, and his individual performance was one of the big reasons that T1 managed to push that series over the line.
Yeah, but there is something that both of these players struggle with, and is actually finding success in those first duels. We're talking about the duelists, and of course, as you're saying, Mimi, the change in the being extra aggressive. Sometimes you're not successful with that, but both of the players managed to find the impact outside of that. If this is not working, okay, I will let my team do something else. We will change the pace. We will try a different way, and we'll still get the win.
Yeah, well, let's, of course, go ahead and move on, though, to NRG, because, you know, I think that this is a team that is clearly started to find their footing. They're on the path, and NRG are a force to be reckoned with here in Tokyo, Mimi.
That they are. They normally have slow starts into international tournaments, but here they showed up and instantly looked good. They had great preparation against Na'Vi, despite them going back and forth on all these compositions, and their mid-rounding was great. Starting off on Lotus, I think they had great ideas of how to play against this fade race, using the Neon to get ahead of that, and then slowing down their mid-rounds. But they also did still show issues on that one. This Lotus ended up slipping away, I think in part due to kind of a bad read on how to play their defensive side. They were really committing to these aggressive fights, and the Victor operator on the Neon. It didn't really work out.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe making too many concessions, maybe being too aggressive, and a lot of clutches that we also saw for those rounds. But hey, we saw the way that they improved their game, and they only have to keep it up.
And they did close it out on that map 3. Not just closed it out, but they did so very dominantly. So this is an NRG that is showing up in great form, more so than they normally do at internationals, but it's a T1 who's already defying their expectations and has won their first match. And we'll have to see if they can make it to their first playoffs.
Yeah, let's see how far they can go with this one. But folks, our coaches are ready to go. We are ready to go. So let's go ahead and get this show started because everyone's fighting for survival here. It's T1 versus NRG, FUT versus Attacking Soul, EDG versus Na'Vi. Day 3 of VALORANT Masters starts right now.
那是 EDG 的实力，总有一天会看见的。如果技不如人的话，我们就回去再练，再练，多练，拿命练。
I watched the match against T1. He was playing good operators. I hope we make a good fight in operator.
CNET 这个人就狙击枪很厉害。但是我也不怕他，其实我也没有发挥真正的实力吧。就算 CNET 是冠军截锋，我也想把你打败，而且我觉得我能够把你打败。
Of course, they are good players, but it's fine. They will see in the game.
Lower'dan gelip daha da hırs dolu bir şekilde, daha da sağlam şekilde geleceğiz. Hatamızı ders çıkartıp daha iyi oynayacağımıza eminim.
我觉得我们状态发挥到自然的话，我觉得我们会比他们更厉害很多。
Yani kim gelirse gelsin biz asla rakibi küçümsemeyiz, her türlü oynarız.
NRG 팀은 저희가 북미에서 연습을 할 때부터 그리고 저희가 그때랑은 많이 달라졌기 때문에
Before they moved over to Korea, we were dominating them in scrims, so I think they're gonna remember that.
아마 다르게 느낄 것 같아요, 저희를.
When I reach my ultimate form, the world is not ready.
Okay, let's get started. Match 1 of the day. NRG T1, NRG, you are higher seed. So would you like Team A or Team B?
Team B.
Team B, so T1, you will be Team A. And we will start with your first ban.
Split.
Ban and split, your ban?
Fracture.
Fracture, and so map number 1 from T1.
Lotus.
And side on Lotus.
Attack.
And then map number 2.
Bind.
Side on bind.
Defense.
Defense. Next set of bans, we'll start with T1. You have Ascent, Haven, and Pearl.
And Haven.
And Haven, your ban? Ascent.
Ascent.
Okay. Map number 3 is going to be Pearl, side on Pearl. Defense. Okay, gonna run through this really quick. First set of bans, we have Split and Fracture. Map number 1 is Lotus with NRG on attack. Map number 2 is Bind with T1 on defense. Next set of bans are Haven and Ascent. Map number 3 will be Pearl with T1 on defense. Good?
Perfect.
All right, good luck to you both.
Good luck.
players have crossed paths before, but now the stakes have never been higher. A playoff spot is on the line. NRG, T1, let's do this.
T1, they have memories of losing to this team. They have history with them, but this is a new iteration. This is a new squad being put together for T1, and a squad that has progressed so much from losing in the first round at Lock-In to making playoffs in Pacific and now qualifying here to Tokyo and being 1 away from playoffs.
And no one gave them the time of day. No one thought that they would be in this position coming out of Lock-In, but here they are right now, and I will be so as far as to say, even though I have immense respect for NRG, Kukuka, T1 have a very real shot to win this game. It's just going to take a lot of work.
One of these teams is going to make a real statement today. Both of the games that they have played, they were a little bit shaky, not easy wins at all. But today, this is the win that matters the most. It's actually the winner of a group that has been ruthless.
And it's the question for NRG. Can they make it a clean run? Pretty much every global event, they go down to the lower bracket in groups. They just barely make it out. In Americas, it was 3 weeks of rough gameplay at the start to recover. It was a lower bracket run to make it to the finals. This is their chance to do it cleanly, show that they are still in the peak form where they could compete with Loud back in Americas.
But think about how incredible it would be if T1 were the one to have the clean run into that playoff bracket. How the story would shift dramatically, and maybe, just maybe, people look at the name T1 when they see it on VLR, on Run It Back, wherever it is, and say, yeah, no, I think they actually do have a shot.
Especially now that DRX is on the lower bracket already on the other group, the story for this team could have a major shift and completely different narrative towards the region.
But it's going to be difficult, especially considering the maps here. We start on Lotus, which has been a map that T1 is very comfortable with. They pick into it here, and they play this Harbor Viper composition. And, well, NRG struggled a little bit yesterday. They let this map slip versus Na'Vi on their defensive side with, I think, a bit of issues on their aggression there with Victor's Neon. This is still a map that they've been very competent on back in Americas.
Definitely T1 saw something in this Lotus yesterday that looked a little bit shaky on the side of NRG. Maybe they decide to be onto that one. The problem is, I agree with you, Mimi, I don't think they're going to make the same mistakes. We're not going to see a Victor maybe taking too many risks. I think that we're going to get the Victor that we saw in Split.
T1's competition on this defensive side will oftentimes revolve around a lot of retakes, especially towards B and A. What Harbor Viper is good at is flooding, and you can see it in their defensive-sided win rate, 64%. They're solid on this side, which is difficult here on Lotus, but NRG are really good at playing the mid-round on this attacking side, finding that free side, and getting really strong forward positions with Victor and Crashes.
That's going to be a fascinating matchup to see unfold as we get ready to jump into the action. And I just got word, we are ready to go. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. You know what, they have a little bit of jet lag, but it ain't gonna stop them from killing it in this cast. It's of course, Pansy and Hypoc.
You're absolutely right, GB. Nothing is going to keep us from this game. Again, we see the likes of Bind, we see NRG coming out, especially after saw T1 as well recently. Looking pretty hard to trot, but jet lag aside, our little excitement aside, what do we now expect with these two teams? We've had a little glimpse of them, one match played each. Where do we now see this head-to-head looking?
I honestly feel like T1 come out in that first series looking pretty good, honestly. It's a trial by fire to play against EDG.
True.
And again, it's just because of the playstyle, right? They're almost forced to approach that very differently. Now, the concern today is, do they come in and almost over-prep for NRG? I think there's definitely something they've identified here from yesterday's performance, potentially versus Na'Vi, because NRG dropped that, and Na'Vi struggled regionally massively.
Strange.
Massively on this
Yeah,
map.
it's weird. But I still find it hard to put Na'Vi in context, regional to international, but you're right. There were tangibles there to hold on to, which made NRG look a little bit flustered to a degree. Now, has T1 got that capability to exploit it, though? Can they push on those limits? Do we see a different look from Victor today? There's so many potentials that could change up here.
Absolutely. I think this composition builds around what their big win condition is going to be in terms of pacing, in terms of bringing that kind of EDG ethos, I guess, from that opening series across here to Lotus.
Oh, the fans are excited for this one. It could be a cracking game. I don't know what version of which team we get coming out today. You know, we could see the championship run look in NRG. We could see that T1 deadly form able to handle powerful individuals like they did against Kankan, but we wait and see. We already start out with Victor taking a whole lot of space. That Frenzy posted up nice and deep here. Does he get the little green light that he wants? That, absolutely not. Sire player played in very nicely off the back of Carpe. Beautiful start.
Time to perfection there. Will isolate Victor as well, somebody who is pivotal in terms of NRG's mid-rounding on the attack. She's will clear through the Trailblazer. NRG stacked up here as well, but already 3 T1 bodies ready to defend the C site.
They're pivoting. They have to. They've already got so many of these rotations in, so much of that counter utility in place. It's somewhat at least denied that springboard effect that maybe NRG wanted to try and pressure towards that C site, and it's a double back. Maybe just taking their time through here, see if they can catch one player overextending, but no one is. This is patient play from T1.
Definitely looking to slow things down now. Ardis reveal, but actually still punishes Munchkin on the swing off the turret there.
Over-delivering and trying to keep their attention towards B. He can cause them so many problems now, trying to, I guess, hit that rotation back from the C site. But again, we look at what could stop them this. Do they still think the Sire player would be here? It was a glance. It was just a quick look from Crashies, but he adjusts well enough to find Sire player. That gives them the sight. This is a really nice round from NRG, just drawing T1 so thin across the map.
Beautifully recovered to get into this position now. T1 lagging behind a little bit in terms of the rotation timing as well. Now allow NRG to set up very comfortably. And look at Ardis' disconnected position. These players on site just need to buy time for him.
Paranoia is going to help. That should have connected at least towards 1, maybe 2. Pop Flash goes in, and FNS can't see a thing. Now, Crashy's still going to find value, though. Could be a third not to be. Here we go. Now we look towards Ardis. He was the final player, meant to be the final boss in this. Note, no one is on that spike. It was just a tap. The second time of asking, he's got a nice little line of sight on this. It was chip damage. Oh, the spacing on that was a little off there. Ardis gets away, and now time is against Carpe. He's got no time left on this one, and Ardis times it to perfection.
Opens up with the Red Bull clutch here in the pistol round. And Ardis definitely the power player in that setup, but NRG crumble on site and still able to close it out. That safe plant position. Beautifully done by NRG to recover that round into that position, but like I said, Carpe and Zeta did everything they needed to on site here.
So many swings and roundabouts in that round. That first pick played in perfectly, Victor going down.
And a little bit chaotic as well. With this plant, you must read that Ardis is disconnected, right? And the swing from Carpe is just so off kilter. I don't know if that's a miscommunication. Somebody's looking to tap and Carpe's not swinging, but it looked like that first half was going to be stuck at least.
We do have a stack coming out from T1, just leaving, I think it's Carpe, yeah, only Carpe towards that C side. He's going to be going through the process of doing what he can. He's got a classic, so T1 trying to just keep bodies on that A side. Did do well to facilitate that first pick in the first round, but going to be hard to do it now. Let's see how clean NRG can keep this, though. They do obviously have some much better weaponry. We just have that Marshall out for Sire player, so that's the one you want to be seeing potentially find connection. But for NRG, they're going to start feeling all of this pressure. So many bodies now kind of identified towards his A side that I wonder if they continue on this track.
We obviously heard the Marshall ringing off here from Sire. No tags coming through just yet, looking for a blind spam, but Victor explodes onto Sire. We'll find 2.
Such a little animal like this. Does so well on the Neon. I know he had a little bit of a shaky performance last time, but it's beautiful to see him get that little confidence building early. Eco Cobra round short. You take him when you get him. Hello. Zeta's going to find 1. Sire player did connect towards Ardis, so not as clean as you'd imagine, but there is a recovered weapon. It's not much. Can they make anything of it now? Carpe really wants to try and tee up Zeta to do something. That's going to do it. Now Victor's gone down. This is a problem. Getting a little bit more dicey here. 2 more seconds on the flash. Cove's gone up. But Crashies is just body blocking that spike. He's going to keep himself on this. Just put his life literally on the line. Oh, toyed with. Gorgeous. Zeta now. Can he get past on the final? Rain Boss, he's done it. Has he got the time on this one? I think he does. That's a tragedy for NRG and T1 turning those tables around.
Back-to-back rounds where this post-plant hold that should be fairly comfortable crumbles for NRG. This time around, T1 capitalize. Get the defuse on top of that. The flip here in round 2. Massive boom to the T1 economy. And Zeta's upgrade from Finesse, dropping that Spectre at the top of the ropes, makes all the difference. You see the engagement of Stinger versus Spectre there from the ropes, and Zeta able to punish. Ardis going to throw a Guardian in here. Victor back on Stinger once again. Actually, Sheriff's in a frenzy here, so they find an opening pick. Actually could make something of this.
Victor's going to be overwhelmed with 3 players on this. T1 willing to brawl it out now. Crashy's going to go down first and foremostly. The rest of NRG hoping for a favorable outcome, but Ardis already taken low, but does take one with him. Carpe still just standing. joined by Sire player here. They're willing to shoulder this challenge. I mean, they've got the Vandals. If you start losing out, you do feel a little silly. Finesse actually making something of the Sire player now. Gotta deliver, and he does. Beautifully done. Got a little bit dangerous there. If he goes down, suddenly it's a little bit more vulnerable.
Absolutely. Bladestorm online, though. Nice and early for Sire. So a little offset to the economy if they do want to try and get an operator in his hands early on. He's going to try and spread the funds potentially. No, ban down at 150, so maybe going to use that for a full purchase in the next if NRG are able to strike back here. Lockdown available, Seekers available here for Crashies as well. That's our T1. Reckoning, Seekers, and the Bladestorm. Curious really if this early trend will continue, because I was talking about T1 potentially being conditioned by that EDG matchup in terms of being ready for aggression, being ready for very explosive early rounds. Finesse potentially going to be tested here. Ardis alongside him.
Yeah, they got caught on the flash, so the T1 know that there's players here. Oh, Carpe just couldn't capitalize on the swing. Side player gets out of there, but NRG now given a chance in this.
Hey, Carpe's the one to swing wider on that. I know Sire was expecting to maybe bait off the back of that, but Crashy's looking to follow through the Trailblazer here and potentially even throw the Seekers in here. Big damage, yeah, and with Carpe falling, Sire's going to have to play this out at 21 HP.
Do they continue on this track, though? NRG have options. They've still got 55 seconds to make best of a bad scenario. Going in towards Sire. Both popped. But they pause for a second here. Sire player goes looking for information. He finds all too much.
Forced out by that utility perfectly. Som capitalizes. Lockdown invested as well. NRG want to get this round on the board.
How much can one man do? He's got to stand and fight, and he takes no one with him. Life up for grabs here, and NRG just storming the site. Gorgeous from Som, expecting the positioning from Munchkin. And Ban identified he doesn't need to overdo it now. NRG have basically got this round on wraps.
Ban not even going to look for an exit. Do have the chance, obviously, with the Bladestorm being available, but down at 150 credits, maybe just wants to protect a full purchase here. Oh, just slipping up. Yeah, he is jumping up towards the archway. Isolated, Ban will find one. A consolation at least. LG, on the other hand, with those credits remaining, probably not wanting to hunt this down too desperately.
And turn in the second round certainly going to haunt them if they did expend towards chasing the rifle. So, taking pause for thought here. NRG course correcting quite quickly. Getting back on track here, tying this up at 2 apiece. Now, again, kind of rolling it back. Ban, I don't think in this one I'm going to kind of put him in the same light, but we saw in that previous matchup against EDG, for example, wanted to see him confident early, started to really come online towards the later stages of that previous game.
And I think this round is a perfect indicator for how T1 want to approach this, but NRG having a second stacked up on this extremity, the awareness needs to be there from T1 that that is a possibility after that EDG matchup, and then being, like I said, forced into a position where T1 had to be the aggressors in a lot of their defensive rounds, just to try and reduce numbers.
Oh, and still with so many ults to play with. Carpe's got his, Zeta and Sire player all ready to go. Obviously Munchkin and Ban a little further away, but similar scenes at the start. We've seen this kind of almost consistently. Sire player willing to take an early fight here, look for an early challenge, but mostly just take space. Now, first time we're really seeing NRG, though, with bodies behind it, exploring this B option.
Zeta taking a ton of damage there. The other side, actually, Victor gets tagged up as well. An exchange, but doesn't amount to anything. Crashy's actually taking the orb outside B here. So Victor was one away, slowed down by the Nanoswarm now, but T1 have relinquished a little bit of control for the time being. But big information off the Trailblazer. Munchkin actually capitalizes.
I was a little nervous that Victor has the spike there. That could have been so much worse. Luckily for him, Crashies is able to grab it, didn't fall too far away. But now looking across the map, Finesse outdone Ban, so ready for it, working perfectly off the back of the utility. And NRG not finding the success they previously had, losing out on players on towards B, losing out on that presence on A. Do they get any success towards the site? No, Som's gone down one by one. This is just individual work unless Ardis can over-deliver, and he absolutely can't. T1 holding the ground there.
Yeah, Ardis actually got 2 in that situation. Not entirely sure how he found the second there, but T1 find their third. You noted, these ultimates aren't being relied upon here. So still some tools at T1's disposal. Finesse, unfortunately, just can't find it. Oh. I thought maybe that was over the top and Sire saw a pixel, but it was just a blind spam.
Broken buy coming out from NRG.
Forcing around Victor's ultimate potentially does have a stinger in hand as well, but Guardian in the hands of Crashies.
Making quick work here though, but you can see Sire player exploring towards middle this time. On the other side is Ardis. And the adjustment not quick enough for that one. Ardis all too prepared. Having quite a nice game already, Ardis. Miscasting games that he's in. But NRG going to fall away from this. They've had that early win in this round, right? So with 1 minute 15, they've got options to explore.
Carpe looking to swap out with Zeta, potentially to make use of the Seekers. NRG this time around, I haven't really seen them comfortably take an opening duel. Sire gives this one up on a platter, to be honest with you. You've got to be careful. Kobe actually bouncing. I'm not sure if that will leave a gap. No, we'll still cover the choke point.
Yeah, but Victor's just straight to work, straight to business. And he does find Zeta. Damage taken, yes, down to 15 HP, but he's still alive and still a threat. Carpe going to try and catch him across the wall, but it's Munchkin. Finds Victor, and they take back the site control. They're not giving it up just yet, though, as Som takes that critical kill towards the site. That could facilitate the plant now.
30 seconds left.
And a Munchkin, a 2v4. NRG still haven't fully got site control to obtain this plant. Maybe waiting for some smoke to come through. Come through at the perfect time. Munchkin even eats a little bit of spam on the way out, down to 7 HP, makes this almost undoable. See already on the mini-map, we'll retreat away. And I want to see T1 lean away from some of these solo swings in the early rounds. I mean, Sire and Carpe previously looking to take deep control outside Mound, maybe pick off Finesse or Ardis, whoever they're expecting to find outside C lobby. This is another example where Sire's given one up and there's no possibility of a trade. No, absolutely not, and they don't gain anything in terms of information because NRG can just slow things down. Then a slight overcommitment from Zeta as well. I mean, he's got the Reckoning, he can potentially slow down a hit, but it just comes so late on. There's no pressure on NRG. I think even actually the AoE was just outside main anyway. Maybe Victor, regardless, he can zip straight past that. But potentially here, if we see Sire pick up the operator, maybe that's an indicator to slow things down and maybe look to... it's just comfortable for Ardis there.
Yeah, these do feel a little bit individual, even just the fights alone. Yeah, obviously kind of signified very clearly at the start by Sire player, but let's see if he can maybe get his head back in the game here. You can't be giving NRG those opportunities. They'd absolutely love to be giving them. Still a close game though, 3 apiece. Not seen either team fully break away just yet. NRG back to this early lean towards A.
I mean, in terms of the numbers though, this is the half that you want to see T1 post up an advantage. 64% win rate on defense overall regionally. It's definitely where we want to see them set up for success in the second. Victor looking to actually find some space here, and he's got very deep. He's going to find Ban, potentially. No! Ban finds the headshot.
I'm amazed that Ban got away with that one, but the barrel even showing. Finesse giving it up. Crash is taking the damage, but going to deliver the kill. But the site, yes, it's theirs, but they've suffered so much on the way in. Victor and FNS going down makes this tricky, and now the flank has got a lot of bodies towards it. Ardis got 3 potential targets to handle. Spots 1, takes 1, but that's all he's going to get. TP toyed with. So I'm going to stand his ground. He's got Crashes by his side, but they've been struggling in these post plants.
And it's been on this site they've struggled, Lauren.
Gap's getting closer here. Crashes has no idea. Well, unfortunate for him as Som now left in a 1v3. Big round, not gonna happen. Carpe's got him, Som's gone down. And once again, those retakes elude them. They evade them here. Not getting what they want at all.
It's a similar setup as the pistol as well. Ardis disconnected initially, there to greet the pressure outside Mound. Just holding onto that C lobby position, but...
This was huge.
Yeah, Ban does go huge for T1 here. To find the second as well. I think even a lot of chip damage done onto Crashes with that Nano Swarm at his feet. NRG will pump the brakes a little bit here.
So looking at what we've seen so far, it feels like a little bit hard to kind of characterize because we have seen these back and forth rounds, but the issues in those post plants, a couple of other things, are those what they need to address here? Where do you look?
I think the onus of pressure really lies with T1 here. I want to see them disconnect from some of these early set pieces to take away control, and if it doesn't result in a kill and it doesn't result in anything tangible to really you know, pressure NRG's backline, I want to see them disconnect and just come back towards a retake setup, potentially, or address another part of the map, because so far, it's very value dependent, but this mound control isn't really amounting to too much.
You're absolutely right.
And NRG are greeting it perfectly.
They're holding on to it well. So this is an NRG timeout if you are just tuning in, because, again, back and forth game here. Now, for NRG, I'm looking at the money. That could be a little bit split too. I
mean, if this is an attempt from T1 to almost condition NRG into focusing more towards A and relying on Ban as that heavy anchor towards Tree, and obviously having the complement of Munchkin's utility there, then sure, but I do want to see them start disconnecting a little bit.
Yeah, because you set that conditioning in hope that you get that additional benefit down the line. So maybe that's what we start seeing them lean towards going forward. But I also got to say here, Ban being a nice safe pair of hands on towards A. We kind of credit the anchors as to how well they handle this. Let's see what we see this round, though, because does that conditioning continue? For now, though, NRG actually testing it over towards C. Yeah,
first time actually we haven't seen T1 with a couple of bodies stacked up here, but Sire's on that solo exploration outside of B. Other side of the door right now. Potential to be played in with maybe a wall up from Zeta and a flash from Carpe. I'll try and catch them in the choke point here.
There's the flash. Wait and see if side player does much with this. It's actually Carpe to find Som. Where did he just get him?
Just on the backside of the mound.
Wow, okay. Yeah, Carpe. Beautiful start to this, and that's frustrating. Som going down does remove some of those later round options. Hey. Sire player 1-for-1 trade, though.
Yeah, I mean, you take that in this situation after Som's already fallen. Now you want to see T1, like I said, disengage from this. Use the numbers advantage here and minimize the risk on the way in.
Well, the options for NRG are looking dreary, aren't they? Yeah.
Slim.
What are you meant to do with this? How are you meant to take towards your side? I guess you could take a gamble, hope that maybe Ban's in an uncomfortable position over towards A. Where is Ban? He's just jump spotting. Okay, so he should be able to get the information early. There it is. Whoa, okay.
Didn't spot initially.
Hold on. Well, Ban's made a meal of it.
Fumble.
That's tragic.
He spotted on the first jump spot there, but didn't react at all, and Crashes was actually ahead of that first jump spot.
Though this has given them such an opportunity. It shouldn't have happened. Lockdown on either side as well. 3v3 now in the post plant. Can NRG make up for those lost rounds they've been struggling with here? They don't have to go too far away from this. They do have to kind of go back towards Tree, slip back a little deeper. Oh, this still has a little bit of kit to play with too, but going to be taken back towards the site. FNS should be able to catch that cross, apply some pressure once they start trying to get towards the site, but he looks like the first port of call here. They've already made it through. Now there's problems. He tries to overextend. He gets taken down. Artist holds the line, though. Site's still NRG's as T1 struggling to take those next steps.
Comfortably closing out an A site post-plant hold here, and the lockdown exchange really doesn't favor T1 at all. A little bit baffled by the investment there, especially at the timing. If you just wait for that to close out from Artists, I feel like they can invest this much smarter. The thing is, Finesse falls here, but he gets off a crucial snake bite to stop Carpe and Zeta from actually flooding back in onto site. So even though he goes down there, able to still assist a little bit. I think actually the vulnerable taking effect on Munchkin on that initial swing into mid-site.
I'm just still worried about Ban after that round. He's going to have to get his head back in this game. Silent player, though, had this ult for a moment or two. His challenger is just tucked in the corner. Oh. Not good enough that time. Oh, this patience pays.
That shouldn't be a surprise, though. And again, it's another one where burn a flash from Carpe. If you're going to make a play like that, just have a flash to confirm presence there.
And they've been doing well at that before. That's the crazy part of this. Okay, Victor caught in no man's land. Nice soul spray again. This is going to be bits and pieces. Yeah, this heads up work from him. Lovely little round. NRG starting to string together some rounds here. And again, I need to see recovery from T1. What they look like here. Operators out. You kind of considered that earlier on in this game. This is the round they're going to invest in.
Is this going to be a little more of a passive hold here from Sire? Have the Seekers, have the pit for Ban, so you can maybe reinforce that anchor towards A site. We'll still see Munchkin provide a little bit of support in terms of utility. Artist disconnected once again. Doesn't have Finesse now in this position. We saw them stacked up previously together in the early round. NRG looking to step the pace up a little bit in terms of early round pressure.
Yeah, Yeah, trying to work in the dark a little bit here. None of the presence can be fully confirmed that there's bodies behind it, but there's a lot of utility shown, a lot of audio cues. But Artis goes walkabouts. This time Munchkin's got him dead. Not going to get as much freedom as they had before. They get to slip away with the man advantage early, leaving Sire player posted up with that operator.
Yeah, just spotted with the Trailblazer. Won't necessarily have confirmation there's an operator in hand just yet, but in terms of the mid-round, this looks much better for T1. Now they have some sort of, I guess, safety net with the Viper's Pit going up and an operator on the other side of the map. NRG look as if they were, I guess, posturing towards a B split here. But Crashies with the spike drifting towards the backside of the pit here. The alarm bot's got, so again, Munchkin is wary of any sort of lurking towards spawn, but a little bit of a gap here for NRG to potentially make something happen.
Do they let Som slip deeper? That's what I'm hoping they do, and they have. They've got him just posted up towards CT, not going too far away, but they've done this quietly, right? They're working in the shadows towards it.
We'll be forced into I guess, an unorthodox plant, but the pit is so deep towards spawn.
And that just cuts off so much of the avenue of approach until then. Victor's fallen and giving Munchkin the way forward. They've now got an opportunity. Now it's actually NRG looking a little surrounded here. A couple of brave explorers towards that pit might be happening as well. Let's see if they hold on towards that for Finesse. As Crashy's looking to maybe remove Ban from this, find themselves a little bit of a corner of comfort.
Crashy's got a shorty.
Oh Lord, the drop! Hello, Crash is going to take down Ban, but it's Munchkin having a round here. 3 already. Crash is burning both flashes, but Munchkin is not relenting. This guy has just aced NRG, and in no easy feat.
And a totally new look to the A side post-bomb with this pit up towards spawn, and T1 once again come out on top of it. What a strange round. And what's even stranger is that a member of T1 comes out with an ace here. I mean, Crashy sends both flashes in here and Munchkin stands his ground. And this goes completely differently. If there's still a Poison Orb and a couple of Snake Bites for Finesse to work with, NRG can potentially commit to a much looser, more passive hold here. You can see Crashy's desperate to try and negate that pit towards Tree. And Munchkin's found one for free.
Yeah, saw nothing. I'm pretty sure there. Victor going down instantaneously, just caught on the cross. That's going to be frustrating. I'm going to note that there's been some deeper progress made from NRG, but they've been sent on their way. They can't make it towards the site just yet. T1, this is much nicer. I mean, yes, off the back of Munchkin, but still. And look at this space for Sire player. He doesn't have to go too far here.
Yeah.
He can just sit on this. The map is theirs, basically. 3 players ready to greet them on A. You've still got that presence of utility towards B. And obviously Munchkin there, Sire player. That's a shot you want to be hitting, but they now know that the map is indeed very small.
I mean, that's the green light to hit towards A. There's so many questions elsewhere. Som will open things up, Ban will fall. The Seeker's invested here. Lockdown to potentially counter, but the plant will come through. An opportunity to reset here for NRG.
Okay, wall goes up, trade comes in. They're going to get back towards the site now. That flank is still something that's going to be weighing heavily in NRG's mind. You can see already the T1 trying to toy with the timing here. Crash, she's not going to fall for the flash. Does well against Carpe. There's the flank though. Sire player going to answer back in. With the tap on the spike, they have to respond. They have to check. And Zeta was auto ready. And now it's on Sire player to try and do that damage. And what? Oh! Zeta! How'd he get that one back? Oh, this looked good for it.
I was in the same position as the pistol.
Yeah.
This time around, Zeta lands the shot. Operator retrieved. And T1 will come into the final round 1 up. NRG 2 Guardians and a Bulldog on the board earlier. We'll see how the purchase actually ends up. Beautiful adjustment here.
This is huge from T1. So impressed with their work. And NRG back to what they hope is working. Victor being found so early on certainly doesn't help matters, but once again, Sire player. Yes, this time there's a little bit of utility there. Yes, this time maybe Artis comes back around. But again, it's so indicative of space given.
Even so, Sire's continuing to pressure the backline. And this time, NRG, I don't know if they feel as if they've done enough work to force him out of that mindset, but we see otherwise.
Does he get checked? He does. Okay. Tries to swing ahead of it, tries to make something of it, but Ardis just claims it through the wall. That's Carpegon and Munchkin. That's a B-side looking so vulnerable. Yeah, Sire player took some space, but who cares at this point? That should be a plant if they need it.
Still got that alarm bot to deal with. I don't think Ardis is going to get out of range of it. So Sire's got to reconsider maybe approaching the door here. Reckoning invested. Again, there's no body to swing off this, though.
Store. Anyone?
Thank God there's an extra wall there.
Yep, that would have been you dead otherwise. Now just down to Sire player. A 1v3 required. Only a Bulldog picked up. Isolates the first. Crashes goes down. 2 more. That's a hard angle to clear, though. NRG making no mistakes at the end there. Taking this back to 6 apiece. This is a very hard 4-4 game so far.
Absolutely, yeah. Ardis having a fantastic performance. 17-8 on the half. And with T1's approach here, he is the pivotal player for NRG. Controlling that flank, reinforcing that backline, and allowing actually NRG to explore the map with relative freedom.
This is NRG and T1 tied up at 6 apiece. Desk, what do you make of the first half?
Personally, big fan. I like what I'm seeing from both teams here. I think we're getting the matchup that I was hoping that we would get. A T1 that's coming into this one really competitive and showing NRG that they're simply not meant to be trifled with.
Yeah, I really thought that T1's aggression they showed versus EVG would get consistently punished by NRG. But instead, this high-risk, high-reward style has been working for them thus far. Normally, the strengths of this comp are in kind of playing back, maybe pushing one side with a Cascade Flash to get early space, and then playing retake with your Harbor. But T1 has been taking a lot of aggressive fights, and we're actually committing to hard anchoring in a lot of these rounds. And NRG was exploiting that. But the thing is, as we got later into this half, while T1 were still taking those risks that might not be quite as optimal with their composition, they were finding those early advantages and converting so many of these late rounds.
Exactly. We were talking about the Harbor, how predictable the utility was becoming when they're being aggressive. At the later half, we see a Saya player that is just pushing with that operator. I think that also the utility dumping that they were doing so many times where Zeta will get to the post plan and not even have the cove, a little bit, you know, trying to playing into NRG's game, just dumping all of that for them.
It was tough, but now in the second half, the question is, has NRG improved their defense? Against Na'Vi, this was the big issue. 44% win rate generally on this map, and what they were struggling with was how they wanted to play this Neon. They were playing more similar to Foot than Cloud9 with the Neon, where they were going for a lot of aggressive extremity control. They were having Victor off. It wasn't really working. I'm looking for them to have actually less aggression against this Harbor comp, and instead to look to play more rounds in that retake and to flood with the Neon stunts to stall.
Yeah, it is going to be quite fascinating to see how this one actually plays out here. Granted, we saw what happened with NRG yesterday. Will history repeat itself? Let's go ahead and jump right back into the action as we get into that second half. Pansy, Hypoc, over to you.
Yeah, the second half leaves us with quite a few questions, Mike. Yes, it was uncomfortable for NRG. Yes, this is a closer game. Can T1 push them to that same position? Do you think this has got enough that we've seen from that first half? What do you expect now? Seeing that Neon again, obviously it's the easiest question to start with.
Yeah, definitely. And this is where I lean back towards the point I made before this map started, is how T1 are going to approach this in terms of the pacing. I do want to see them build around Sire here on the attacking half, but might even be an early exchange here. Some will fall immediately. Sire doubles down.
Huge work! The crashes as well! This is so clean! Sire player really making sure he's dead there. FNS is down. This is... Look, they
do we have our answer already?
Yeah, I think we do. They were trying to fight fire with fire, and T1 win that cleanly. NRG feeling embarrassed after that. Ooh! All 5 standing. That's a message, Mike.
The Prime Gaming Flawless to open up the pistol round. And one of the quickest we'll probably see.
Yeah, what a start. Let's have a little look at this again. Yeah, 135 basically first blood, fully confirmed, drawn. Sire player, man, so clean with it.
Beautifully done. And this is a statement send if T1 now build upon this and set the tone here for their attacking half. Actually, Sire 2 away from the Blade Storm already. Had a very early Blade Storm in the first half after that round 2 flip.
True. Okay, so it's going to be Finesse feeling that pressure over towards the C site. Couple of shots coming his way.
And a heavy lean towards A for NRG.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 3 players, yes, dedicated, 4 almost if you want to throw maybe some into that mix too, but now what can FNS do with this? He's got support on the way, but there's a gap and it's closing. Yep.
He's caught by it.
Bye-bye. You can already see the Hunters coming on downside player, though the counter flash wasn't bad. That could have been maybe a little more to it. Maybe they can get something a little bit wild going on. Victor starting to become a threat, being a problem. Down to now 3. They've lost out on the rifles. Yes, recoverable though, and they have site control. Spike back to hand. They should be able to secure here. Can NRG cause any more mayhem?
Taking a while to get the plant down though. NRG are going to be in a position to set up here. Paranoia and a flash to come through immediately.
Yeah, they've fallen away from the site though. That allows a little bit of room for T1 to re-engage. Nicely handled here by T1. About
a ton of damage done though.
Yes, yes. If we look at kind of, I guess, the minutiae of it, NRG will be happy with that round. They made something out of very little, but the stability from T1 to cancel on that Paranoia was fantastic.
I think Ban and Munchkin actually came out with 2K on that, so not the worst, but the timing on the swings here, NRG just so slippery to pin down. Enables Victor to find 2 with the classic. Make this interesting, yes, but T1, like you said, perfect time to cancel the plant and commit to that engagement. NRG make absolutely the right decision there. You can see the utility was on point to try and flood back onto site.
And this is when that benefit of having Sire player having those big impactful rounds early on, those first 2, he's been able to farm up towards Blaze. Munchkin finding FNS. Again, that was on that solo fight towards C. Why is Victor in the middle of no man's land? What's going on, Mike?
I mean, just absolutely collapses outside rubble here. It's a wide open A site for T1 to capitalize. Som making his way back over towards stairs, but another one that's just, it's over in the first 15 seconds.
Was it the timing that Finesse fell that suddenly Victor and Crashes were vulnerable? I want to see the timing of how those kills came in. But at this point, this round's wrapped anyway. Som and Ardis are saving. There's no questioning that here. And considering the buy, can they bolster this much? I'm trying to see if they can get any more. I think they'll be happy with what they got the upgrades on anyway. They've been able to kind of fill out the buy.
Well, this is a little unorthodox. If Ardis is going to commit his utility over towards C or towards B, and Finesse not be that typical Viper anchor towards Tree, then they either need to commit to this fight or be in a position to, I guess, play damage control, right? Mitigate as much progress from T1 as possible, and they're on the hunt right now. They're looking to punish, they're looking to try and potentially remove these weapons, but still a big gap. I think there's, I mean, Som's the only one that looks like he might be caught, but Munchkin hesitant.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see a very early timeout here from NRG.
Okay.
To maybe reconsider this setup.
Yeah, I want to see the timing on this again. Yeah, finding Finesse, that's not ideal. Finesse gets found, the ball's going to drop, and then, yeah, you just, Victor trying to make miracles happen at that point. It's just, I'm a little surprised that Finesse was playing on that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, like I said, if you're going to switch up like this, then your anchor can't die like that.
Nope.
It has to be post-contact. You know, yes, you can take a little risk and maybe spot for information, but T1 looking to continue with this pace.
NRG have taken, at least a little bit of map control elsewhere. Gonna be able to post up. I imagine it's Ardis. Yeah, Ardis tucked up a little bit deeper towards C, kind of off the back of Finesse. So that's gonna be those 2 dealing with that. But they've pulled the plug on Victor as well, bringing him back towards B, sitting super deep on this A side. Crash is just jump spotting this, if anything.
So is this NRG leaning towards a retake setup on A consistently here? Crashy's with the drop down, semi-committed towards this site hold.
What does he have? It's not much. It's been seen. Flash can be sent. Nah, no opportunities off the back of that either.
Ardis has slipped through. I don't think Munchkin's in range of that turret. Could be. Yeah, he is. Actually does spot out Ardis.
They're trying to fold. They're trying to fold through towards B, but Som, he's there. He's even ahead of the flash. Great work from Som. 3 massive kills. And now, 3v2. FNS Victor and Crash, he's still not ideally equipped, but still, at least with their lives, 28 seconds, and T1 are struggling. The spike is down in such a precarious position. You're going to have to see Carpe go huge here. Still has a flash, gets the spike, waits to see anyone swing, no one does. Victor takes the next step, but takes his life with the classic.
Victor is just nuts with that gun. Finding another kill here. Finesse going to wait things out. 10 seconds left. Munchkin, an awful lot left to do here.
Nope.
not pretty.
No, it's not going in the highlight reel.
T1 desperate to play this out and almost react based on something at NRG show. As soon as Artis is spotted on the flank, they look for this split through Link. They look to pop the door, but Som digs his heels in. Massive bailout round from him. This is on the back of what? The saved rifle and a stinger, I think?
I think it was one of the only rifles they had. Almost made it a fourth there.
One enemy remaining.
He's quite good with that gun, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's all right with it.
97 though, NRG get themselves back on the board in this half. First one they've been able to post here.
Victor going exploring with the operator. I don't think confirmed on the other side of this, but Munchkin has to be on red alert now.
While this is happening, you can see T1 taking a lot of space towards B. There is a massive amount of utility set up there though. Artis littering it on the floor. Side player's gone down as well, so that's a little bit of the utility removed, but Victor has to get away from this. Oh, gorgeous. Just dips away from there. Find a new angle to play from as T1 look to try and explore that option on the C site. 4 of them now standing, and the lockdown invested. This will force the hand of NRG.
Victor desperate to try and still make something happen with this operator, but T1 wait out the timing on the lockdown perfectly. It might just catch one. Yeah, Finesse will have to wait this out.
But NRG surely can't make it back to B.
Som's got an Odin as well, so...
Can get back there. Okay. So now this is when there could be a little bit of danger on this one. The Seekers, it's all headed one way. Straight towards them. On towards CT. Plant going to come in. Does it get denied? No. Okay. Plant's in. Time on the side of T1.
To get that down there, Bam will find one onto Artis as well. So it brings it to a 4v4.
I do like the way they kind of fought for that connector side of things rather than trying to face towards CT, but where are the options now for NRG? Brought back to 4-4, it's tricky to make this work. Operator in play, Odin in play. It's not going to be as easy to try and find those next steps, but Victor desperately looking for that pick, has to switch up to the rifle. Flash goes in, notes the player on the right. Carpe should be seen here, and he's dealt with. Victor, lovely. Next couple of steps, they've got to get a move on here. They've got the time against them, and Victor is running it back perfectly. Anyone else to find him? It's Munchkin waiting. Defuse started. Oh, and Victor again. Gorgeous from Victor. Defuse is there. NRG running it back with just a second to spare.
What an insane retake by NRG. It feels like the time has almost passed here. That window of opportunity had closed, but Victor able to pick up the pace a little bit. You see Zeta just half a second off saving Carpe with the wall going up. The finest of margins in this round. NRG will double down now, 2 rounds to the name in the second half. Haven't broken the economy just yet of T1. But we'll force the timeout.
Yeah, I want to see what they do in these early rounds now. Starting to see a little bit more life in NRG, kind of forcing unfavorable situations to T1, losing outside player on that B take, for example, then having to pivot towards C. And again, we saw what happened there. That retake was down to literally like a second or 2 spare, but I mean, they pull it off, so you have to kind of give credit where it's due. Now about to tie things up, though, for T1, is there an easy adjustment you see in this, or is it beyond some simple adjustment?
I think if they can identify that actually it's Artis and Finesse majority of the time committing towards holding C, then they actually commit to this rubble engagement. Again, Som, he's kind of the one that's in the safest position, I'll say, inside Link. But again, for me, the weak links in terms of on paper, when you look at how NRG are playing here, it has to be Victor and Crashies. Now, that's a different discussion altogether. Calling Victor and Crashies the weaker side of the defense, yeah, exactly, of a defensive setup from NRG. But I don't think T1 have clocked onto that just yet.
No, maybe with that timeout, they've been able to kind of find it, talk through it, see if that becomes something now. This time around, a little bit of an adjusted setup as well towards C. Artis spreading the wealth of the utility as Munchkin trying to find that fair fight on FNS. Already a little bit of damage done to him, towards him, so clearly they spotted each other out in the early round.
Let's say, was that a spam from the jump spot potentially?
That's where that benefit of that Killjoy utility will be found. Artis this time with the operator towards B. That's a little interesting. Trying to imply pressure on the A site though. And T1 starting to drift away from this. That's a little bit of a different look now for T1 to try and navigate through. There's that contact also hitting on the C site.
All out some utility, but it comes on very late in this round. And the problem being, these indicators are going to force them towards Ardis' operator. Trailblazer will force him back a little deeper. But lots of question marks across the map here for T1.
Yeah, T1 taking the tour, right? They start out towards A, kind of split towards C a little bit now, leaning heavier this way. Can they get that lurk to be activated? Can Ban find value? Som's been outstanding at this role, and he's done it again. This guy just holding it down. Now there's really, well, shouldn't be as much doubt as there is. Ardis, this is everything, and the shot's missed. Unfortunate, yes, but it's the way it goes. And now T1 have full site control. Trying to get a little bit deeper. Munchkin, it's deleted by Som. Who's trying to really hit here, bringing it to a 4v3, favorable towards NRG, but the time now is on their side. They have the plant down.
Crashies and Victor have to play damage control here. Prevent any further progress from T1 into spawn. Messiah forced back by the paranoia. Carpe will bail him out though.
Oh, shots from Carpe. 1v2, Som's been good. Oh, you can see the paranoia caused by that TP. Zeta still though, focused on the wall. Som looking for an opportunity, a chance. Anyone out of place, the wall's gonna drop. He sees no one. Disappeared. Spotted now. Zeta's got him. Carpe delivering well there in that post plant.
I thought the paranoia would force them all the way back onto site, but it's actually a re-swing here from Carpe to bail Saya out, and then they double down. Massive value found. Slight adjustment on the plant as well enabled them to be more aggressive towards spawn. It's unfortunate. I think Ardis is even looking there to pop the nano swarm potentially.
Like it's a little unfortunate.
Yeah, a rough timing moment for him.
Yeah. But a different look from T1 though, kind of taking the tour of the entire map. Yes, kind of leaving a player posted on every extremity, trying to get that lurk going, but...
And it's interesting as well, because obviously without this Killjoy utility, it commits Crashies and Victor towards staying here very late. They have to prevent a lurk.
Are they getting proactive? A little bit here. Yeah, Flash goes in and say hello. The Flash found nothing. Ban a little ahead of it. Gonna note the Crashies is nearby. Gotta be careful. There are still pistols out. Guardian as well for Som. But Ban's done very well here, mitigating all of that threat that could have come through towards A. And NRG not finding the start they'd want here, maybe cause a little bit of problems on those early fights, but this buy not going to find any value so far.
Finesse does concede that space on mound outside C, but T1 will pause, waiting for maybe an information peak. They're stacked up now and they've cut noise.
I like this
confirm. Does Ardis get a chance?
Chance is a strong word. It was a glimpse for a second, and this is nice from T1. Very clean work. They were up against kind of a not really a force fight, just a very light investment. It was just bits and pieces. So not too much to write home about, at least in that round. But we have to talk bigger picture here, because that's T1 making it up to 11. That's big, and that's why NRG just hit the brakes, right? This is now it's crunch time. You've got plenty of ult zone, Mike. They got almost everything ready, barring the lockdown, which is only one away.
I mean, the stars aligned for them. They have so much to invest here behind this. This feels like a must-win. What? I mean, call it 1,500 credits across the board for NRG behind this purchase. With a Prime Gaming flawless, actually puts T1 in a position where they can play out a few more risky engagements here. The benefit of the scoreline as well. T1 in the driving seat here. They have a Viper's Pit of their own, the Reckoning as well.
Yeah, still
hands of Zeta, so
something to play with. Well, one away from a Blade Storm as well, I think, for side player.
Yep.
Okay. This is when the game gets fun, right? Because the fact that we came onto this map and T1 clearly identifying a vulnerability with NRG, right? Maybe from that Na'Vi game, maybe even beyond that, but regardless, identifying something. This half was always the worry as well. If you're an NRG fan, you're looking at being a bit worried.
Just to talk about the setup once again, defensively, you don't want to see Finesse or Ardis really overcommit to these duels or really denying any space from T1, because like I said, Crashies and Victor have to stay in position with no Killjoy utility there to prevent a lurk from rubble through towards stairs or onto A site. They're already leaning heavily towards a retake on B and C. I mean, B's the only one that potentially they can stop a push or be there to greet the push and actually fight for it, because there's two weak extremities.
Deep breaths now. One of the odds invested so far. That's towards B, so Viper Pit going to be committed. We see a 3-play walk over towards Mound as well. Crashies, Victor, Som, all there. And it's Sire player, top of the box. Dog gonna come in. Paranoia Ascent doesn't get affected by this just yet either. And it's all posturing. No commitment behind this.
Oh, I didn't want Sire to see anything there. Defensive flash to prevent a push, but look at where Victor's already disconnected to. Let's come back now. Som will be healed up, but no first blood conceded.
This is
T1, I guess T1 definitely looking to try and get a grasp here with the Viper's Pit towards B. It indicates a switch up. So where's that pressure point? Now we have that Killjoy utility littered across A site, and Ardis will potentially try and slow things down, maybe even get a kill and get the lockdown online. T1 still noted here.
Are they going to commit on this? I want to see if they fully go for this. They've drawn out a lot of utility, 35 seconds. They can't pivot too far away. Flash goes in, Som goes up, 21 HP though. He ain't got much to play with. The adjustments there. Sire players in. Crashies holding it back with Victor. They've denied the cross and the spike's gone loose. With 24 seconds, we need miracles from Sire player, and it ain't happening. NRG with the bodies in the right place now. Munchkin knife out. He has no idea. They've already taken so much space, and Crashies wants him dead. So does Victor. Crashies the one to get him, but talk to me about that round, Mike, because that felt like T1 walked into what NRG wanted.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's no confirmation from T1 of numbers on the other side here. Big question marks, and it almost feels like, yeah, let's start out the reckoning and wait half a second to maybe look for a ping, but NRG are able to just position here. Again, Som takes so much damage, but as soon as he falls, there's no second layer to this from T1. Nobody sweeps around towards Waterfall. It's all one-dimensional towards Som.
It looks like they're trying to run it again. Yeah, so FNS posted towards B, Ardis over towards A this time. You know, obviously that Killjoy utility is there, but it's a switch around, right? So you've got the 4-play stack over towards the A side for T1 here, and now you can already see the hunt coming out from Victor, though. He wants to close that gap. He's found a target. He's got a victim. That's Munchkin gone, and now the backline is not secure, but you've got to go towards Ardis. In between literally a rock and a hard place. How do you get past this? Simply stall. That's what Ardis wants to do. Oh! And he does more than that! Oh, come on! This guy, always so good, but can Carpe do something unthinkable? Finding 2 already, but he's got to find 3 more. Flash not going to find anything. Does he spot a pixel out of place? No, FNS keeps himself way deeper. Flash, again, confirms no presence. Maybe feeling he's got a little bit of space for a plant, but they're so close by, Mike. This is going to be brutal for Carpe.
Yeah, to get it down, but not much time to set up here. And
no flash. Nowhere to play, vulnerable, closed on, gorgeous, NRG. That's a lovely little round there.
Ardis goes huge to anchor here. Slows things down with a nano swarm, then isolates every single member of T1 that swings onto him. Goes absolutely huge here. Again, this adjustment of putting Ardis towards A site now, feeling as if NRG have a little more freedom to take the initiative, be decisive here on the defensive side, and actually now the cracks started to show in that T1 economy that looks so healthy. When the scoreline was 11-8, NRG, like I said, that was a must-win round, and look what position it's put them in now. A chance to tie things up.
I love the switch up again, though. Look at the variety we're seeing coming out from NRG. We're going to have this time around Ardis towards that C site, littering the utility over towards there. A little deeper, though. Not going to be putting it towards that early contact. We've got the 3-play stack almost kind of working through B early on, leaving Som the solo towards A. But how far can they get towards this? You can already see T1 trying to consider their options, trying to go through the protocol list. Going to spot a little bit of attention there. And T1 have to go through such a long list to try and figure out where players are.
This thing, if you think about early on in this round as well, T1 didn't have many fact-finding rounds. So almost having to re-explore the map. NRG have made beautiful adaptations here.
Right call so far towards heading on A.
Look at the difference in terms of how deep this utility is invested from T1. And they gain nothing off this.
I think Munchkin might have heard the rotation from FNS at the very least, but there's still 2 players here, and there's still all that Killjoy utility. The adjustment's just right. Again, this is all an information game. Yes, I think he did. FNS comes back around, that's 3 players there. Is that enough of an indicator to keep them committed towards this? It's Som this time. Ardis over-delivered, bailed him out last round. This time, Som's got to go huge. Paranoia sent in, should catch Sire player, but does he get out with his life? Yes. Keeps himself standing, that's all you got to say. That's all he's got to do so far.
Really well navigated by Som, actually, to not concede that first blood. NRG will be in a 5v5 retake situation. Ardis does have the lockdown as well. So they're invested here, but the pick goes down and it does spread across the spike.
This becomes very usable now. FNS going to find Carpe, though. Apply that pressure through a link. Side player trying to look towards it. Tricky to see with the lockdown in play, but still has to respect it, has to fall away. Side now going to be tested. Munchkin tries to get aggressive, and FNS not having any of what he's trying to sell. A tap on the spike will draw the player, but only to their death. Crash is going to find him, and now leaving it all down to one, and not for long. Som takes back his sight as NRG get the defuse.
Finesse stands his ground here in link. Goes huge to deny that second wave of aggression from T1. And he's commanding so much respect. He's keeping 3 members of T1 fixated on this door. Unfortunately, then the pit amounts to nothing on site. NRG able to just stack numbers up here and play trades inside it. Didn't even need to play trades. Only Ardis that falls here.
Pressure time now, 11-11. All tied up, map 1. T1 hitting the panic button a little now. This is, again, when we kind of talk about these teams, when we go bigger picture, depth, capability, you always give a little nod to that man there as well. Always able to give them something, you know, else to work with, a little bit of adaptation, you know, all of that experience coming through. They have that backlog of capability. T1, that's a little bit of a different kettle of fish. They're coming into this with the best they can, and they've done incredibly well to 11-11. Do they have adjustments now?
Look at the contrast in the first 6 or 7 rounds now to NRG really, I guess, spinning the wheel in terms of some of these defensive setups. And T1, like I said, there's so many question marks. As soon as they see an indicator, previously the pit outside B, they then have to explore who's where on the side of NRG. Everything they learned in the first few rounds, out the window now.
Yeah, it's the beauty of NRG that they can do that. It's a very impressive skill to have alone and be so good at it. Yes, you could, I guess, technically adjust things, but being able to be so diligent still it deserves praise. Now, what does T1 come up with, though? What is the plan here? They have the lockdown still to play with. Zeta 3 away from his ult, but that's about it, really. You have the Seekers for Crashies too. This is crunch time, isn't it? This is when this has to be a big round from T1. I'm not sure what they're going to go for here.
Munchkin's been finding value in this lurk. Trying to slip his way onto Finesse's site previously, but switch up here. Let's have Ban in support, and NRG actually resorting back to basics. That original setup we saw with Crashies and Victor over towards A. Som in a position to crunch through on rubble as well if they feel the heat a little bit.
I'm just trying to hedge their bets a little bit. Unsure if T1 were going to do something a little different, but it's just a pace change so far, at least this very slow approach. Maybe looking for a B crunch, maybe just looking for early success somewhere. So far, no one being given that chance. Slipping a little deeper though, Munchkin does get pretty far up on this.
Resmoke comes through. I'm not sure if Munchkin's looking to actually find a lurk. All the way up in towards spawn. Trailblazer burn early.
That's first contact in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Does Som break the door to try and deal with the lockdown? Gonna send the paranoia, here's his chance. Door goes, as does the lockdown, Som gets away. Now, do they springboard towards B? Yes, that's the next goal for T1 here. Ardis trying to hold them back as well. You've got Som pretty close by, but T1 are in on the site. We're down to 14 seconds. If anything denies this plant, we get put into problems. For now, though, T1, 5v5, post-plant on B. This is going to be chaotic, to say the least. Already, Munchkin going to find Victor. He's been holding them back towards that A site. And even the Reckoning to throw in on top.
Som's here with a shorty. He's waiting for somebody to come through. Ban on the other side with one in his hand. Som able to wait this out.
Yeah, but where do they find that next bit of success from? Just holding these choke points with the shorty. So difficult to find a way in on. Munchkin all too aware that Som could be looking from that A. They noted that flash coming out there earlier. They're running low on it. Carpe's going to find Finesse. Yes, Crashies finds one, but he needs to find a whole lot more, and he ain't got many seconds to do it in. He's gone down the T1. Looking to fold. Looking to find that purchase towards B, and they do exactly that. NRG had no answers there.
Slow burn pays off for T1. I'm looking at this. There's no pinch onto Som. Som's able to throw a paranoia, remove this lockdown for free. Yes, Ardis had a little bit of utility here scattered across B site, but there was numbers for T1. And when you've drawn the attention of Som,
that should be good, right?
Yeah.
You've done the big challenge there.
This has to go huge there. And even, it's just a little bit late with the Cove. You think NRG are going to be able to recover there, but so much time passes before NRG make a move. Yes, they have to wait out the Reckoning, but there's no catalyst there. There's nothing for NRG to latch onto to get back into B site.
Ooh, okay. Commitment towards A, though. First time we're seeing this deep exploration coming out from Victor, coming out from Crashies. Now, T1 have been playing these patient defaults. This is going to be quite telling. I'm not sure if they spotted 1 or 2, maybe just 1. There are 3 players here. On towards Mound is the other 2, so how far does NRG go on this? It should at least cost T1 a little bit of utility on the way back, having to clear close. Should burn it up, make it a little easier to hold on towards the sites for those 2. And they have cleared that. So now where does T1 go? Again, they're not finding much of this info, Mike.
Looking to run the clock down once again. NRG relinquish some of this control towards Rubble early on. Victor and Crash is now back towards a more traditional position.
It's just Artis and FNS to hold this.
They have to go huge here.
How much can these 2 do? Nice stall for 1, but Sire player reads through it. Catches FNS looking a little out of sorts, so it's just Artis, and the support's still a mile away. Trying to play cool, probably calm, he's gone down. T1 now with only 3 more to find, and this map's theirs. Plant gonna go in, time on their side. Crashies gone. That Sire player wanting more. Meets his maker in the form of Victor, but it is going to be just the last 2. Som and Victor try and turn any of this. Can they take it to OT on map 1? So much to come up against, look at this. First contact on towards the turret. There's the swing, there's the kill, and there is map 1. T1 digging deep there to beat out NRG.
Beautiful stuff in the last 2 rounds as well. Looking to slow everything down. Allow that pressure to build, and NRG went hunting a couple of times, but didn't pay off for them. They struggle once again on this defensive half. Yes, they had a beautiful adjustment halfway through that.
Yeah.
It looked as if they got themselves right back in a position to close things out. Artis having a fantastic game here on the Killjoy. T1. I'm a little surprised, I'll be honest, because this was something I was looking at, and I wanted T1 to approach this with the same confidence and the same willingness to play aggressive and really take the fight that we saw versus EDG. Here, initially we saw in the second half, but they looked as if they strayed away from that. That's why I got a little bit worried, honestly, because that's where an IGL like Finesse really starts to excel. Once he gets his finger on the pulse and really grasp what T1 are trying to achieve, that's the sort of game that you expect NRG to win.
If anything, that credits T1 higher.
Absolutely.
They're able to pull
I'm
that off.
very surprised that they closed this out.
Yeah, what a stark contrast to their initial opening game up against EDG, right? That is a totally different tone change, pace change coming through to this, and be able to kind of adjust to the depths that we were crediting and praising NRG for that little late game run to bring them back up to 11. Hey, T1 did it right back to them. Now you would say though this map, yes, it's probably the most favorable one that T1 has available. Next up, they've got Bind to look at. That is a whole different beast.
Yeah, and again, NRG's pedigree runs so deep on Bind, so T1 definitely a bigger challenge now, but for me, big tick in the box to get themselves on the board here with the first map of this series.
Yeah, this is huge. T1 showing us a fantastic performance on map 1. Bind on the horizon. That is what I cannot wait to see, so do not go anywhere.
Wow.